I don't know if you can see the disgust on my face. The tom was already on the ground. He was down in there. I guess you can figure out what happened next. Gone. Okay, real quick before we get into this Ohio trip, I want to show you a couple of deer that I have shot. Here's the first one that I shot several years ago. I want to say this is 2014 or 15, I can't remember offhand, but it's an 11 point. Obviously it's a young deer, but I had never shot an 11 point, and he looked really good while he was standing there. Come in, I think it was about a 30-yard shot. Almost perfectly broadside, and he only went about 60 yards after I shot him with my compound bow, so I was really happy about that. But then 2017, you know, this guy shows up right here, and this is my best deer to date. And he's a mainframe 10, but he's got a split brow tine, and it makes him 11 point. And that was the biggest buck that I had ever seen, you know, in Ohio. And, you know, that's why I go. That's why a lot of people go to the Midwest, you know, Ohio, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, you know, Illinois, other states. It's to shoot bigger bucks. You know, I hunt in North Carolina. Never seen anything like that. So stay tuned. We're on the way to Ohio, but just because we're going to Ohio doesn't mean it's automatic. You still got to hunt. Okay, we just made it into Ohio, and it's 12:35, 12:40, and this is what we got. As soon as we walk in this field here, see this ridge back here. The deer are bedding on that ridge and down in other areas. So the temperatures have dropped about 20 degrees over the last couple of days. But like I said, this is November, so this is the best time to be in the woods. Even regardless of temperature change, there's gonna be a lot more buck movement than in the previous months. But the temperature is supposed to drop with each day, especially toward the weekend. So we're gonna get changed and get in the stand. All right, all I'm doing right now is just cruising this really quick. Just trying to make sure the sign is still here like it has been over the past few years. And we're not gonna do an in-depth scouting on this area because we're going to hunt it, and we know from hunting it in the past there's deer here, but this is what we're looking for. It's got a fresh scrape, get all the debris, leaves and grass kicked back this way, and you got the overhand branch right here, and actually there's another one right over there. I know it's hard to look into the sun, but usually they have them on both sides of this little bottom of this little field, and they're only on this one side now, so that's something different. So we've got the wind in our face, which is really good from them coming in that direction, but it concerns me a little bit about these scrapes with all the debris kicked in one direction. So it depends on which way the buck is coming. So Okay, we just got out of the woods. Just actually saw 4 does. The weather turned off really cool. It's about 46 degrees right now. So what's supposed to be in the 60s, it got down to 46. So it wasn't too bad as far as the weather goes. It's supposed to be in the 30s in the morning. We did hear one buck grunt, and it sounded like he was chasing the doe. So it may be starting here. So hopefully in the morning, we'll see some bucks. Okay, I didn't shoot that buck. Yeah, I was in between when it came out. Obviously, my son-in-law's got the video camera. He's probably 60, 70 yards when he first came out. Now, he did get into that, 30 or 40 yard range, but there was a branch hanging down. But I was still in between whether I wanted to shoot him or not. So you can hear me grunt. I grunt, even though I'm not in the video, a couple of times to try to bring him in. But he had his nose on the ground the whole time. So I believe he was trailing a doe. And then by the time I had the green light on, he was gone. So indecision gets you nothing. So, and as I look back on the video, I didn't realize it then, but this is the same buck that came out last year that I actually shot at. And the second time I went back to Ohio and I hit a tree limb, I actually just shattered my arrow. Fortunately, I was able to find my broadhead, but I shattered my arrow. And he hadn't improved any. And now they got a closer video of him. That right side is still a little bit shorter than the left side. The left side's got that one long tine, but it's got one less tine than the other. But he's probably a 3.5-year-old deer. So I was a little indecisive, and it cost me. And then later on, another deer came out, and hindsight being 2020, I should have let my son-in-law take his bow with him while he videoed. That way, at least he could have got a shot at a deer. Now, we wouldn't got any footage, but at least he could have shot this deer. But as you'll see, another buck walks out, but he's a lot younger deer. And I think he's probably a 1.5 years old. He might be 2.5, but he's definitely got some potential. Okay, on my way out. It's actually a really good morning. It's the first morning we hunted below freezing, so we had a really good frost, had light winds, and we actually had 2 does come in and 3 bucks. We had, no, actually 4 bucks, 3 8-points came in. One was, well, we had three bucks come in. One early this morning, I couldn't get really a good identification of him. It was right at first light and I couldn't see him. Then he eased on off in the woods. Then we had a nice 8-point come out. Then we had a 3, and then we had another 8-point that my son-in-law would have shot if he'd had his bow. Unfortunately, he was running the video camera. So we're gonna solve that problem. He's gonna carry his bow at all times. So we'll get back in there this afternoon, see what happens. Okay, this is Friday morning, and as you can tell, it's a torrential downpour. Tropical Storm Nicole, it just came through, and it's very difficult to video in this type of conditions, but we decided to go ahead and go in a little later, and I would use my GoPro since it's waterproof. And on our way over to the property that we hunt, we spotted this tremendous 8-point out in the field, and he's already with the doe. My son-in-law is shooting the video with his iPhone, and I tried to zoom in with my editing software, but the video is still a little grainy. You can't tell, but this deer's probably got 8-inch or longer brow tines, a lot of width, and a tremendous amount of mass. So we rode on into our property and decided to give it a shot and see what would happen. As you can see, it's pouring rain. Tropical Storm Nicole's come through. I'm in Ohio, and we would give it a shot this morning. I know big bucks like to move in really bad weather, and this is really bad. So we're gonna hunt a few hours and see what happens. Maybe something to come through, and maybe the camera won't be fogged up or any water on the lenses, but you can see what's going on around. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm having to shoot this with my iPhone. The old GoPro battery got killed this morning with these cold temperatures up here in Ohio. But my son-in-law and I, we're just now leaving. We're packing up to go. We saw 5 or 6 bucks this week. There were a couple that possibly were shooters, but we held off. I think my son-in-law would have shot one of them, but unfortunately the day that deer came through, he was running the camera. So all in all, it was a pretty good hunt. We're a little disappointed with the number of deer that we saw. Typically we see more when we come up here, and I think our timing was pretty close, but we may adjust our timing in the future. But if you're in the Midwest or you're in the East, you know, wherever you're hunting, take a look at the food sources, find the does. Typically, once you do that, you'll find the bucks. But we're getting ready to leave here, head back to our home state, and then be back in the stand again. So I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time, and hopefully we'll have some deer on the ground. Okay, the Ohio trip's over. We got back after hunting, you know, from Tuesday through Sunday, and we would have stayed longer, but I didn't put it on video. We had some people come in on our property, and they looked really comfortable. I said maybe think that, you know, maybe they're on there more than what they should be. And I had a trail camera set up and did not get any more bucks after that first, you know, that first day we saw those two that, you know, the 7-point and then the other 8-point or 9-point buck that came through. We saw several that day. After that, it just really, it dropped. And we got a little, I guess, disheartened toward the end of the week. You know, Nicole came through, but we saw that really huge 8-pointer. And I bet his brow tines were probably, you know, 7-8 inches long, if not longer. But we didn't see anything on the property that we were hunting. And so we basically just packed up and headed back to North Carolina. I mean, it's one of those things where you try it every year. Sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not. That's why they call it hunting. You know, I'm not hunting on a leased area where I go in there and make changes to the property or anything. This property is the way it's been for the last probably 40, 50, 60 years. It's old family property. We're not hunting a ranch where you know they're going in and they're managing the deer and, oh no, you can't shoot that one, that's a 140, you gotta wait and shoot this one and let them grow. These are just deer that are on private property, and you got to go in and take your best shot, and then you have to live with the results. So it's still fun going out there. I still enjoy hunting, but sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.